Fitin10 Nation, it is day 15 of the challenge. And as I mentioned yesterday's video, we're going to run the scans a week early. And I want to remind you guys that when you're working towards a goal or whatever, it can create a lot of anxiety. And of course, we're comparing scan to scan. And obviously we're looking for improvement, and I'm sure a lot of you will see improvement. But the other thing I want to remind you of is I want you to not be afraid, and I only say this because of me, to be honest with you, because of my experience. As I don't want you to be so fearful of not perhaps rising to your own expectations or your perceived expectations that I might have, of not attaining that. So because that's a small part in this. Okay, and so the analogy I'm going to use here is, I used to be so fearful of competing. I've done numerous shows in my life. Many people have done way more shows than me, but I've done, I think, 18 bodybuilding shows in my life. But the reason why I didn't compete more is because I often had a fear that I wouldn't do well, and that was the biggest mistake I ever made. Because I learned so much, and I figure out ways of bettering myself by trying. And so that's the thing I want you to remember. It's not so much in this experience that you must do well or you're a failure, okay? And maybe you're not thinking this way, okay? But maybe some of you are. It's more so going through the experience and learning. This is really important, And I don't know what your upbringing was like, but I had an upbringing where, my father was very hard on me. And so I was very afraid to always fail, right? And so you can't have that attitude, because you'll never do so many things that you can be good at, and you'll always have a hard time, working to be a better person at what you're doing, right? So, you've got to change your perspective on this, okay? I don't want to say you have to, but you've got to look at this as an experience that's allowing you to evolve, okay? Yeah, we're working towards that 30% fat loss. Yes, we're trying to improve that muscle mass. But more importantly, I would rather you go through this challenge, not even do that well, but take so much growth from it. Growth is the most important factor in this, okay? So I'm going to really appeal to you. That is so much more important. You may not see it now. You may not really even get the gist of what I'm talking about, but it's very, very important, okay? We've got to get away from this, I succeeded or I failed. It's not about that. Seriously. It may sound trite. It may sound like I'm just trying to be politically correct, but it's not, because these are the things that are going to allow you to, better improve yourself, build self-confidence, and know that perhaps not doing well in something is not, or that is part of the journey. That is part of this longer journey, okay? So I want you to think that way. All right, food of the day. RX bars, okay? People ask me about these because they're definitely cheaper than the ISO bars, and they're a really good bar, by the way. Costco sells these. And they're, you know what I love about these is they're very, very simple. So let me just read you the ingredients on this particular, what is this one? Chocolate sea salt. So dates, dried egg whites, cashews, almonds, chocolate, cocoa, natural flavors, and sea salt. Super impressed by the ingredients in this. Macros are pretty good, not as good as the ISO bars, but more impressed by these by their simplicity. 9 grams of fat, 23 grams of carbs, 5 grams of fiber in this, by the way, and 12 grams of protein. Okay, now a lot of people look at sugar and stuff like this. They'll look at the ISO bars to see how much sugar's in there. They'll look at this and they'll see how much sugar's in there. But remember this, right? The sugar will not affect you in the way sugar normally affects you. That is simple sugar. because starch is a sugar as well. Okay, starch just gets broken down into sugar, into simple sugar. Okay, but when they say sugars on this, they're talking about simple sugars. But simple sugars will not affect you the way simple sugars will on their own when they're combined with proteins and fats and fiber. So remember that, okay? So anyways, 13 grams of sugar in this one out of those 23 grams of carbs. And like I said, 12 grams of protein. Don't worry so much about the sodium because we don't care about the sodium. These are a great bar. So, you know, maybe the only slight complaint I would have is the egg white. Some people, if you have too much egg white or egg in the diet, you can get some sort of allergic reaction to it. Okay, try these bars out. They're really, really good if you want a cheaper version. Again, I'm a big fan of the ISO bars, but these are also a great bar. The reason I have these is because I've actually bought them. They don't taste as good, but I still use them. Okay, they're a good bar. Okay. 6 minutes. All right. Okay, completing cardio. A lot of you have not been completing your cardios. You know, and well, I will stress that I want you to do the weights for sure. The cardio is just as important as well. Well, you know what? I'm gonna have my bias jump in here and say it's not as important, but it is still important to do well in this challenge. Okay, so just do your best to get those cardios in. Okay, so I'm gonna give you a quick example. Okay, I'm in my off season right now, I don't want to get too heavy, but I'm trying to overcompensate as well. But you know, I'm evaluating myself. I'm like, I'm too fat right now, so I'm like, okay, I gotta start doing cardio again. So I start doing cardio after my weights, but I don't always have time, you know, because sometimes my weights just take too long for me. So I'm like, okay, well, what am I gonna do? Well, I have to, you know, sacrifice some sleep, get up a little bit earlier to get those cardio sessions in, or else sometimes it just won't happen. All right, so again, I'm going to make some time. I'm going to sacrifice some sleep. All right, so rather than, and sleep is very important, by the way, but it just means I got to try to, you know, be a little bit more diligent about when I go to bed and everything. All right, there's always some hours in the day. There should, you know, generally speaking, not always, but generally speaking, there should be some hours in the day that you can start to just be a little bit more, you know, careful with. All right, so I'm just using this as an example. All right. Where there's a will, there's a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. Okay. Somebody else mentioned that they're going to start using 10-pound weights minimum. Okay, listen, depends on what exercise you're doing. Okay, if you're squatting, yeah, 10-pound weights for sure. All right, or deadlifting or whatever. But if you're doing maybe you know, your overhead tricep extension, you know, you may not be able to do 10 pounds. All right, because you're working a smaller muscle there, so you're not going to be able to use as much weight. All right. Okay, one other thing I wanted to mention here, protein digestion. A lot of these powders, including the Magnum Quattro and even the Vega 1, they do have digestive aids in them, all right, to help with the digestion of the protein. Okay, so and I think somebody posted something like that in Slack just recently about you know, there being some digestive enzymes in the protein powder that they're purchasing. I think it was Iron Vegan or something. But a lot of protein powders are now doing this. So that's another bonus if you're having a hard time digesting protein. All right. Nearly 9 minutes in. All right, so here's what I'm going to tell you for the rest of the day, and it's this. Give yourself the time to take care of yourself. Well, I just wrote this up today, actually, because I want to just reinforce to you that how important it is for you to take care of yourself. So I should probably reword this, but you know, give yourself the time to take care of yourself. All right, this is really, really important. And I know a lot of you may be taking care of other people in your life, but you can only take care of those people well if you take care of yourself. It's true. Okay, so you've got to make time for yourself, take care of yourself. You know, this is really, really important for your, not just your physical and health, but you know, for your mental well-being. All right, so take care of yourself, you guys. And I think it's really important that you do this for your entire life. All right, now it certainly goes beyond, like I said, vanity, but think about your mental state as well. Okay, exercise is a huge additive for a good mental state. All right. Okay, there's more I could say. It's 10 minutes, so I'm going to stop there. Okay, so day 15 wrap up here. We'll talk to you all very soon. Submit and commit to this challenge. Positive energy, positive vibes. Believe in yourself for the love of God, and give some gratitude, daily gratitude. I'll talk to you guys all very soon. See ya.